Why does no one ever tell Robyn and Kody exactly how they feel? I get it, setting a good example for the kids, being the bigger person, all that. But seriously, after all the therapy sessions and heart-to-hearts, why has no one had the courage to call out Robyn and Kody the way they've called out everyone else? I mean, Kody went off on Christine in front of an audience in America, and we've all seen him go after Mary and Janelle too. So why does no one ever say to Robyn and Kody, "Hey, you two have been practically glued at the hip since day one," gaslighting everyone into thinking we are the reason Kody loves Robyn more? You've single-handedly ruined this family with your actions. It's honestly baffling. Everyone else gets read the riot act except those two. Christine already said in therapy that Kody was spending all his time with Robyn, and of course, they both denied it. Classic. At this point, there's really no use in trying to reason with them. They don't take responsibility for anything, and they just play the victim. The smartest move? Walk away and stop engaging with unreasonable people. And honestly, I think some of the kids have said something to Kody and Robyn. I mean, it's not like they've been completely silent about the situation. It's just part of why the Brown family is in the mess they're in now. Let's face it, most people are probably scared of Kody. We've seen his tantrums in the talking heads, and multiple kids have said he's even worse off camera. Just look at how he snaps at Suki when she challenges him even a little. But hey, if anyone needs someone to step up, I've got their back. If Kody gets in my face, I'll take one for the team. Kneecap him, no hesitation. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Kody's reaction to Mary getting a release was almost comical, except, it's Kody. His immediate question to her was, "Do you have someone waiting for you?" As if she couldn't possibly want a release without some other man in the picture. This coming from someone who has repeatedly said he wants her gone. Make it make sense, right? For context, Kody has said before, "I don't consider myself married to Mary. If she were to move on and find another, she wouldn't get an argument from me." But as soon as she gets a release, he's suddenly obsessed with who's waiting for her. Classic narcissist behavior. Seriously, if you've never met one, consider yourself lucky. Kody's inability to fathom a woman wanting to move on without another man involved is a textbook case of his egocentric worldview. He simply cannot comprehend that women might have lives, desires, and dreams that have nothing to do with him or any other man. No, in Kody's mind, every woman is in search of another man. It's like he's incapable of thinking beyond himself and his own self-importance. Not to mention, he's dumber than a box of rocks if he truly believes that. Or maybe Kody's just fishing for reassurance that Mary is single. Who knows? It's all about his massive ego. He doesn't care what she wants or needs. He just wants confirmation that he didn't lose his grip on her, which honestly is just pathetic. And then there's the part where he said he'd be happy for Mary if she found someone else. Which, of course, raises the question, why even care, Kody? Oh right, because you're a big jerk. Let's talk about projection for a minute. Kody's been emotionally checked out of his marriages for years now, especially once he found his favorite wife. It's like he's got a habit of jumping from one wife to the next, with zero effort to maintain his previous relationships. Janelle, to her credit, just went with the flow, likely because she's the type who doesn't cling. And of course, that's why Kody likes her so much. She's emotionally distant enough to make him feel important. Robyn, though, she came into the picture later, a younger woman with kids, eager to have more. Kody, ever the opportunist, saw this as a perfect setup. The other wives would tolerate him focusing all his attention on her, and he could enjoy his big picture vision. For Kody, the idea of any of his wives moving on without a man is incomprehensible. He can't imagine leaving without having someone else waiting in the wings. Now that his ego is bruised, though, you can see the signs of his panic, especially from Robyn. He's freaking out, imagining she's out there looking for a new man, possibly at church, because he finds women at church. But honestly, if there's any affair in this mess, it's going to be Kody's. I'm just waiting for the inevitable. The biggest joke in this whole situation is how they act like they're on the verge of being homeless every time there's a housing issue. Robyn needs a rental in Flagstaff, or maybe she's buying a house. Suddenly, it's like they're living in a hotel or about to be on the streets. But wait, didn't they choose this lifestyle? Isn't one of the perks of being in a poly-family having, 3 other houses to crash in? Like, if one house isn't big enough, they could split up. It's beyond ridiculous to me that they act like they can't do the very thing normal people do, stay with family or friends temporarily when needed. I mean, I know I could crash at a friend's or family member's place if I needed to. So what's their excuse? Take coronavirus, for example. Why didn't Mary just move in with Robyn to help with the kids and avoid exposing them to the nanny, who was obviously still interacting with the outside world? Or, as a commenter pointed out earlier, why couldn't Janelle take the little ones trick-or-treating at a safe distance? And why, on earth, couldn't Brianna and Aurora help out with the kids so that Robyn and Kody could handle their own children without a nanny? They acted like they had no options, when really, it's just plain lazy. It's pretty clear they stopped taking advantage of the perks the moment Robyn joined the family. The whole idea of sharing everything went right out the window. I'll die on this hill. Kody never fully embraced the responsibilities of polygamy, especially the role of the man. He was supposed to be the leader, the one to unite the family as one. Instead, he did all the easy stuff. If he had actually manned up and done what was required, Robyn would have moved into Mary's part of the big house. They would have shared the Vegas rentals, and family schedules would have been worked out to take care of the kids. But no, Kody actively encouraged the separation of households, and then whined when the wives took it to heart. And let's be real here, none of them were ever really interested in making things work as one big happy family. I don't buy this excuse that it was all Robyn's fault. Each mom had a hand in the separation. For example, if Christine and Janelle were so close, why couldn't Janelle and Savannah just crash at Christine's place instead of living in Coyote Pass? Sure, I know Janelle probably hoped that would light a fire under the construction, but it would have saved a ton of money. And then there's Mary's whole moving saga. She moves to Flagstaff, then back to Vegas, then back to Flagstaff again, and then from one giant house to another. Why couldn't she just have stayed with Robyn for a bit and saved Kody and herself all those nanny bills? The whole moving to Vegas to avoid the investigation thing. Yeah, let's talk about that. I've been rewatching the show, and this has bugged me since the first time I saw it. The whole reason they gave for fleeing Utah in such a rushed, traumatic way was because the family was under investigation for bigamy or welfare fraud. They make it seem like moving to Vegas is some grand escape plan, like the investigation would just magically disappear because they're no longer in the state. Here's the thing, leaving the state doesn't erase what happened when you were still living there. If Utah has proof you broke the law while you were in their jurisdiction, guess what? You're still on the hook. Moving away doesn't stop an investigation or potential charges. It's not like Utah would just throw up their hands and say, well, they left. Guess we're done here. That's wishful thinking at best, and definitely not something you put your entire family through on a whim. Sure, some of it was probably dramatized for the show, but the constant retelling of the escaped story definitely left lasting impacts on the kids. Utah didn't end up pressing charges, but that's not because they left. It's because there wasn't enough evidence. So yeah, it raises a pretty big question. Did the Browns think they were guilty of something? Why else would you act like you're running from the law if you didn't think they were about to come for you? Honestly, Kody acting like extradition doesn't exist? Hilarious. If they really were in trouble, they'd just get hit with another charge for fleeing. If they actually thought there was any legitimacy to the investigation, the smart thing would have been to get a lawyer, not pack up and run in the middle of the night. It's also ridiculous, and the kids, they're the real victims here. So I'm rewatching the latest episode where Kody is going on and on about their eyes locking, as if that's some profound, soul-shattering connection. Apparently, that's why he can't bear the thought of Robyn going to church without him. Because, naturally, every male within a 50-mile radius is just dying to get a piece of her. He's clearly worried that if she goes solo to church, she might spot some other guy and, shocker, dump him just like she did poor David. And honestly, this whole rock he keeps talking about, yeah, it's barely a pebble. Robyn's not exactly the fresh-faced, skinny diesel jeans model she once was. Nope, now she's a middle-aged, twice-married mom of 5, with 2 kids under 18. And let's not forget, she's been starring in a reality show that's nothing short of a circus. So yeah, not exactly prime catch material. And honestly, I'm pretty sure she can barely tolerate Kody at this point. Oh, and speaking of Kody's concerns, he's terrified of Robyn leaving because she's legally entitled to 50% of his assets. The man's really going to lose his mind over that one, especially after he spent so much time whining about Christine taking his money. But let's be real, in most courts, he wouldn't get away with pulling that poor me act. Robyn's the legal wife, folks, so yeah, alimony, child support for 2 kids, and 50% of everything. Guess he's got more to lose than he thought. The ex-wives drama, always a crowd pleaser. So here's the breakdown. When Christine started dropping truth bombs about Kody during the dissolution of their spiritual marriage, the Southwest fandom was all about it. Her snark was on point, and fans were cheering her on for calling out his behaviors. But of course, the moment Janelle stepped into the ring, things got a little more complicated. She took a more measured approach to calling out Kody, but even so, people were still praising her and criticizing her for not being harsh enough. The fandom loves a good scandal, and they have no problem shifting gears when the narrative feels stale. But let's talk about Christine for a minute. At first, everyone was loving her continuous snark, but after a while, people got tired of the same repeated jabs. You know how it goes. The internet has the attention span of a goldfish. And once they feel oversaturated with the drama, the applause turns into eye rolls. Enter Mary, who decided to step up and criticize Christine and Janelle for how they handled their divorces. Now, Mary doesn't just say things outright. No, she drops her snark in the most passive-aggressive ways, with the help of her friends who do most of the dirty work for her. It's almost like she's taking the "I won't trash talk Kody" mantra to an art form, while still dropping some seriously shady comments. It's amazing how the fandom will turn on a dime and cheer for Mary just because her shade is more subtle, but the message is basically the same. Here's the thing. None of the ladies were actually trash-talking Kody in the traditional sense. Trash-talking is when you exaggerate someone's flaws or make outright lies about them. All 3 of these women just told it like it was. Kody's behavior didn't need embellishing, it was already messy. When you're asked by producers or interviewers to speak your truth, and your truth just happens to be Kody's questionable behavior, that's not trash talk. That's just being real. And let's face it, this show needs the drama to survive. No juicy details, no paycheck, no show. So let's say you were in their shoes, on this show where your livelihood depends on being open about your life. If you were them, how would you handle the divorce? Would you be the one taking the high road and keeping things quiet? Or would you be the one dropping snarky truth bombs and calling out your ex for what they are? Because in the end, it's not trash talk if it's just the truth. Look, let's get this straight. I am not a Kody fan, not even a little bit. But hear me out. If the OG3 were truly indoctrinated into some cult-like religion, then guess what? Kody was too. Sorry, not sorry. just watched season 19, episode 14, and he said something that actually clicked for me. He was talking about how he doesn't want the girls, and yeah, I know they're not exactly children anymore, but bear with me, to fall into a cult-like religion, and suddenly it hit me. Kody is starting to see it. He's finally realizing, maybe for the first time, that he was in a cult. Now, let's be real. Kody, being a white man in this cult, had a lot more privileges than the OG3. He definitely got the better end of that deal, but that doesn't mean he wasn't also messed up by it. Sure, he's got his own laundry list of terrible traits that have nothing to do with the cult, like, I don't know, being selfish and self-centered. But let's not pretend that being told you're the man of the house and the center of everyone's universe for decades didn't totally stunt his ability to have any humility. What I'm saying is, I think this crisis of faith he's going through is real, and it's probably a lot more complicated than just being a giant jerk. For that, I've got a little compassion. And let's talk about those tears he cried for Mary. They seemed real. I mean, imagine being so young, giving your whole life to a cult, and then waking up 30 years later to see everything you've built is falling apart. That has to be gut-wrenching. Now, should he have kept those tears to himself and left Mary the hell alone? Absolutely, but it happened. And here's the kicker. Kody actually says, "My closed-mindedness caused me a lot of heartache." For him to admit that, huge. Now, acting on that admission and making some actual amends. That's a different story, but hey, we'll see if he's capable of that. I'm really curious to hear what others think about all this. Okay, this might sound a little odd, but what have you actually learned from watching Sister Wives? I was thinking about this the other day. The family dynamic on that show really reminds me of my own family growing up. Now, don't get me wrong, my dad isn't nearly as over-the-top self-centered or responsibility-averse as Kody, but there are definitely some similarities. And my mom, well, she has a bit of a Robyn vibe, minus the whole treating the kids like that thing. Seeing it all play out in a totally different context has given me some perspective on my own experiences. Also, I've picked up a lot about Mormonism, fundamentalism, and, let's be real, cults. It's also surprisingly helped me get a better grip on the geography of the Mountain Time Zone, and let's not forget just how horrifically ugly some jewelry can be. Seriously, it's a visual assault. But on a serious note, has watching the Browns taught you anything? Now, this is a bit of a tangent, but gray rocking is definitely the way to handle a narcissist. And can we talk about those initial conversations Kody had with his wife about ending their marriage? Pure gold. She stayed so calm, didn't react, didn't give him the emotional satisfaction he wanted. She was all, "You're not gonna get under my skin today, buddy." It was honestly impressive. I've never seen anything like it, and it was downright fascinating to watch. So Mary's sign, huh? Well, since I don't have TLC anymore, lucky me, I'm stuck watching the episodes on YouTube. Not the best option, considering the quality is reversed and the images are about as clear as a foggy day. But hey, it's all I've got to work with. In the sneak peek for next week, they flashed a sign, something about Mary and Kody. And then Mary casually says she wants to destroy it. Not just toss it in the trash, mind you. No, she wants to obliterate it. Dramatic much? Anyone know what that sign was all about? I caught a quick glimpse, and it looked like it said Mary and Kody, but there could have been more on it that I missed. If anyone's on Facebook, the latest episodes of Sister Wives get posted there a few hours after airing, or you can try Dailymotion. Both are far superior to whatever YouTube is offering me. If you have a narcissist in your family, I just have to say, watching Sister Wives has been surprisingly therapeutic. My brother is the textbook definition of a narcissist. The manipulation, the constant gaslighting, the toxic behavior, and don't get me started on how he used his kids to make you feel guilty. It reached a point where I had to cut ties with him completely. For my own sanity, I made the decision to go no contact. But because I'm human, there are times when I feel conflicted. I wonder if I should reach out to his kids, or if I should try to salvage something with him. Those what-ifs can really weigh on you. Then I watch Sister Wives, and suddenly everything clicks. The anxiety, the impossible conversations, the emotional acrobatics. Lately, I've even found myself relating to Miri's journey, and honestly, I'm starting to like her a lot more. Watching her navigate her struggles and grow has really helped me reaffirm my decision to protect my peace. So, to anyone else dealing with a narcissist in the family, does Sister Wives resonate with you too? How do you feel about your situation after watching? I'd love to hear how others are managing it. After finally watching all the seasons of Sister Wives, it's impossible to ignore how Robyn and Kody have basically taken the family on a ride, only to ditch them for financial gain. But honestly, it's the last 4 seasons that have really left me shaking my head. Robyn, in particular, is suddenly playing the role of the innocent little girl, gasping, "I would never do that to the family. I want us all to be together." Seriously, where was that sentiment when she was doing everything in her power to pull the family apart for her own gain? Kody is as awful as ever, but at least now it's all out in the open. The other wives aren't around to cover up his emotional immaturity anymore. It's like the truth is finally being dragged out of him, and there's nowhere left to hide. And then there's Robyn, who, shockingly, is now the emotional wreck of the family. She cries over anything and everything. Ask her a simple question. Tears. Stand your ground with her. Cue the waterworks. This woman is 46 years old, and she's acting like a fragile little girl. I can't even reconcile this with the Robyn from the earlier seasons who was vocal, confident, and ready to take on any challenge. It's like she suddenly switched personalities, and I just can't buy it. Now, I know Robyn and Kody are trying to revamp their image with the help of a PR team, but let's be real here. What they're actually doing is running away from the mess they've created, with Robyn playing the damsel in distress and Kody pointing fingers at everyone but himself. And the worst part? Robyn telling her adult children that they need to come to her before they can have a life of their own. How much of this is scripted and how much of it is real? If it's real, it's downright disturbing. These kids are stuck in this toxic web, while the older children manage to break free, get jobs, go to school, and live their lives. Robyn's 2 younger kids, they're still tethered to her, catering to her whims and Kody's nonsense. It's honestly heartbreaking. Looking back, there was always a problematic dynamic in this family, even before Robyn came on the scene. The OG wives were already struggling to share love and attention from a man who clearly didn't know how to be a good partner. Kody's failure as a leader and problem solver was evident long before Robyn entered the picture, and frankly, it just got worse. Robyn likes to put on this shy, demure act, but let's not kid ourselves. That facade didn't last long. Once she realized she could manipulate and gaslight her way to the top, she didn't hesitate. She's been plotting to be the favorite from day one. It's laughable that she and Kody think they can rebrand themselves now. We've watched them for over 10 years, and we all know the truth. Robyn and Kody are selfish egomaniacs, and no amount of PR spin is going to change that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.